What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We're back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We have got an amazing guest here today, and that's exactly what we're talking about is freedom and how to build a real estate business that gives you that sense of freedom and fulfillment, a real estate business that you genuinely enjoy and is actually profitable. And so there's a lot of fun stuff that we'll get into today. The guest that we have on today, Buddy Blake, has been basically through every phase: agent, team leader, broker, still leads a team, like the whole 9 yards, founded, built, ran, sold off a lead generation company, pretty much everything you can imagine doing in real estate. Buddy has done it. So it's going to be a pretty wide ranging and fun conversation today. So first of all, the junior grandmaster himself is in the co-pilot seat, fresh off the top producer webinar from this morning, Gregory McDaniel. How are you today?
Matthew Johnson. Good Lord, we're getting full surnames here. What a good time, man. Top producer just did a great job. They just knocked it out of the park. So thanks to top producer, thanks to Mojo, you guys, thanks to Live Leap, thanks to just who I'm going to talk about in a minute, but thanks to those guys. But you guys, Buddy and I have known each other for a long time, so any of y'all are used to, have ever heard of a company called Star Power? Here it is. It's an old school, program that he and I were both inducted into as the stars, which means you're recognized for a certain amount of production in a certain amount of time, with a certain amount of ethics and all kinds of other stuff that Howard Britton, who God rest his soul, actually really, set it up for us. So I know for a fact this man knows how to make it rain. And we were sitting off air talking about a myriad of different topics, laughing our butts off. And he and I, well, I know I learned something from you, buddy, right off the bat from you off air. And I know that everyone else is going to learn a lot. So, brother, man, good to see you. Glad you're here. Let's have some fun and change some lives.
Hey, Matt and Greg, it's good to see you guys. I really appreciate all you do. I enjoy watching everything you guys do, listening to it, and I've just always been a student, and I realize that I can learn from everybody. And I've actually learned that I can learn from the new agents these days because they're so hungry and passionate. They're doing the things that everybody else says won't work, and it's working. So the whole life is coming full circle again. As we've chased all these shiny objects, we're coming back to the basics of talking to people and engaging with people and relationships.
Yes, imagine that.
Right? We've tried to scale the whole business so we don't ever have to touch it to anybody or talk to anybody or do anything and just let the checks roll in. And that is not sustainable for the long term.
No, it's not.
And some of us have learned it the hard way.
Very hard way. The painful hard way.
Yes.
Actually, there's a young agent named Stefan, and he is literally taking everything that I'm doing and like doing the cold calls and using the right scripts and all the stuff that we learned over at Howard and some of the new version stuff. And dude, he's crushing it. There's a myriad of other agents that are all new young agents. They're all doing these different scripts, and it is so awesome to watch them. I'm learning from them. Shit, they think they're learning from me. I'm sitting there going, no, I just took that note. I'm gonna take your script. I like yours better. And it's just fun.
Yeah, I mean.
Greg, I want you to double check and make sure that we are broadcasting here real quick on your profile. But we are. So I wanted to get into a question before we get too far down the line. But before we get to the question, buddy, I just want you to share real quick what is for those of you, since large part of our audience is those newer agents and they may not know kind of who you are, give them just a quick idea of where you've come from, what you're doing now, and just a brief history of you.
I started in 1998, 99. I started with Coldwell Banker. It was a small company then. They're a very large company in our region now, the brokerage, very good company. So I started off as a single agent, didn't have a desk, and they gave me a shot when nobody else would. I talked to other companies, and nobody wanted new agents then. So I got into business, and probably 2 or 3 years in, and I just worked my tail off. I mean, I did open houses. I would sit on new home sites. I would sit anywhere I could get in front of people. And to me, I knew I wasn't going to get in front of anybody at home. So I would just get out in front of people anywhere I could. But I got, Greg, you were talking about Star Power. I was really fortunate that somebody mentioned that to me, and I started going to Star Power. I mean, well before I was doing probably, I think my peak year, I did about 75, 80 deals all by myself. And, but well before that, I started going to Star Power and kind of got learned what the team concept was. And then we grew with Coldwell Banker. We were one of the top 10 Coldwell Banker teams in the world for many years. It was Jay Kinder and us. He was in Lawton, Oklahoma. We were here, and Wilmington, North Carolina, which is on the coast, and North Carolina. But so we were there for a long time, and then I had my first child, and kind of an epiphany hit me. I was like, okay, what happens if I die?
Mm-hmm.
What happens with this animal from what I'm doing? And then I started looking at it. The market started softening dramatically, 08, 09, 10. And in 2010, I left Coldwell Banker, which I didn't leave them because they're a bad company. I just left them because I wanted to do my own thing. And I meant to be an independent company, but I ended up opening a Remax. And then now, we've got 4 Remaxes. So with just right around 100 agents total, not counting our team. So 5 years ago when I did that, I stepped out of the team role as far as running the team. My team kept on, but I wasn't engaged with them. I wasn't doing anything other than just spending money, just buying every lead source you could buy, the Zillows, the Trulia, the Realtor.com. I was just buying and buying and buying and spending and spending and spending. But the revenue was going down, 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 and down. And then, and I realized in a Remax model, the way we run ours, which is a true Remax model, they're really, contrary to what people think, there's no profit in it, because if the agents are taking 95%, there's really no significant profit. So I knew they couldn't pay me enough to live the style of life that, I was used to living. So last year, we certainly still have it. I hired a GM to run the Remaxes, and they're actually running it better, because I've also learned that my tipping point, if you've ever read that, is about 40 people. Beyond that,
interesting.
I can't do it. I don't remember names well. I can't remember spouses, family members. So then I dove back in my team about a year ago, almost a year ago, and I realized how much things had changed in the last 5 years. The other thing is, too, I realized how much value I really brought to our company by being in the trenches and can talk. It's easy to talk about things that you read about and you hear at conferences with other broker owners, but it's a world of difference when you're sitting in people's houses and you're listing them and you're going through the same struggles they are. You're fighting the home inspections, the appraisals. You can read about Dodd-Frank, but when you're fighting the results of it yourself and your paycheck coming or not coming. So getting back in the team was the best thing I ever did. I realized it's humbled me quite a bit, because I realized that's what I'm good at. I'm not good at running a big company.
The good thing is is how much it sucks to get humbled, but it's also the most beautiful thing on planet Earth, because you get to get that ego knocked down a little bit. I've had it happen to me way more than one time. I know where I'm coming from. And it sucks ass in the time that it happens. But once you regrow yourself, you get to shed off all those layers of crap that you've been carrying around, thinking all this, that, and another thing. Like I'm getting my ego shaved down on a certain subject matter as we speak. And I was thinking about it in the shower today, and I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, why am I upset? I started breaking that down. I'm like, this is stupid. And I started being happy for it. And then when you go back out and you're doing what you love again, like come on, fighting the appraisal. Come on, you know how to fight the appraisal. That's easy for you. You can get it in your sleep, right? So it's like taking candy from a baby. You want to learn a new skill set, and getting back into real estate was the best thing I ever did, and it sounds like it's the best thing you ever did as well.
Oh yeah, I mean it's what I know, it's what I'm good at. I mean, it's just certain things you're good at and certain things you're not. And the funny thing is, our company is running better now with a GM that knows what he's doing. And that's that's what his skill set is. And I just don't possess that skill set, and I'm okay with it. But I'm really good at listing houses and teaching others and generating leads versus just buying leads. That's what I'm good at. And I know that that's my little world. And I know that, I'm not going to be doing 2,000 deals a year, $15 million a year, GCI or anything like that. And I'm okay with that, because I don't need that.
Interesting. So, hold on. Sorry guys, I had a bug just fly in my eyes. Excuse me.
Right on the camera.
Right on the camera. Oh, that was painful.
Oh man. Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack. Okay. So getting back to kind of the limit, because that's really interesting. So I have that. I think I have a little bit of that too, buddy, where there are some people that are naturally gifted. Bill Clinton was a perfect example of this. Somebody gave the example of they brought their mother to a campaign event of his, I think, where he was supporting his wife for president. So this would have been what, '08 or whatever. And he remembered meeting this gal at a rally 20 years before when they were in Arkansas or something like that when he was running for governor, and like called her by name and remembered where they met. Like that is a whole, I don't know what that is, but I don't have it. So, growing up, I watched my dad, pastor and stuff like that. And yeah, I could see where that ceiling was for him was right around like 80, 90, 100 people. Like that was the level of people where you could really dig in and get involved in people's lives. And I think that level is different for everybody. So you said yours was about 40. So what's the hard way, like, that you found that out? Was it running at the brokerage level where you had like 100 agents?
I'm going to say it's when I couldn't remember people's names or spouses' names, and I had to ask somebody who that was that walked by me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when I didn't know what their production is right off the top of their head or what was going on. So 40 is the max number, my ideal number. I have a team of 9 right now. My max number on my team that is self-imposed is going to be 12. And there's some numbers behind the number 12 that works for me. You know what I'm saying? My reasoning. And that's just kind of, I won't go above that, if you will. So I would rather be highly productive at 12 per agent than just keep getting more people and buying more leads just so I can do more deals, but actually make less money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to work. I'm not going to work 90 hours a week again. I've got 3 little girls. I'm 50 and I've got an 11, 6, and a 7 and a 5-year-old. Okay. Woo. So my goal is to get home.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I didn't have that goal before. I will tell you. And this business probably it helped destroy a marriage, no kids or anything, years and years ago, because you know what? Because you get in this business and the ego jumps in, the success jumps in, the money jumps in, and you think that, I had somebody tell me one time that real estate agents get their skill sets and their paychecks confused often.
Okay.
Because especially in markets like now, when it's a high tide market, when anybody, all you got to do is just be there and you can make sales. So, and I'm seeing, I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing people do the same stupid things that a lot of us did in 07 and 06 and 08 again. I'm seeing it all over the place. So
really?
Too much
like
money
what? What are a couple examples? So too much money to buy leads.
Too much money to buy leads, overloading agents, supplying too many leads, in my opinion.
Sure.
I mean, just over branding themselves and just buying every system to keep other people from getting it. Do you remember that with some of the platforms that were out there when they used to be exclusive? I'm going to get it, so
you don't get it.
Right. I'm going to spend $3,000 a month. Yeah, I did too.
I bought a bunch of them. I'm like, wait, nobody else can get these leads? I'm going to buy the whole valley.
Right. So, even though I'm not converting the ones I already have.
No, exactly.
Much less taking care of the people that got me where I am.
Oh man. Well, go back to the overloading agents, because I think, especially if you're coming into the business or you haven't been in business for that long, if you don't have the ability to generate leads on your own, and that's a whole other conversation that I want to get into. So you come to believe that lack of leads is the problem, but when in reality, I mean, if you understand things at the team level, leads are very easy to buy. So they end up loading, they're loading up agents with a bunch of leads. What do you feel like is too much for the average agent to handle?
I think no agent should ever have more than 200 max leads. Okay. Ooh. I'm not talking about sphere of influence. I'm talking about 200 max in their database, because they're not going to call them and not touch them. And I think personally 15, 20 a month is plenty. And I think a lot of it depends on the source. I think you have to gear your message and your response to what source they come from. For instance, if it's a Zillow lead, you gotta have a different approach with them. If it's a Trulia, if it's a PPC, if it's an organic lead, if it's a Facebook lead, you gotta have a different delivery method. You gotta have a different message, and you have to communicate where they want to communicate, which is typically where they came in. In other words, whichever door they came in is the door you need to walk them through and walk them back in and out, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So, but I think more than 15 or 20 a month. And if you give them more than that, they're going to cherry pick, and they're not going to work hard. You know, we get brand new agents, and for the first 90 days, we give them 100 leads, and we say, you wear these out. Okay, make sure they got e-alerts set up, do all this, and they dig deals out of them. We don't give them any new leads, and they dig deals out of them.
Glenn Garrett, Glenn Ross, you know, all the crap leads. He got a freaking deal out at the end of the movie.
Especially now in this market, I think if we didn't get another lead, I think there's a ton of deals in the database we all have, because guess what? We've been nurturing them, and now's when they're getting ready to buy. Because we've had a lot of transactions where people have been in the system 5, 6, 7 years. They were just waiting to be able to sell their house or for a life change. And those changes are happening now. So, you know, really it's just a matter of, because we've stayed in touch with them with a property alert or drip campaigns or whatever you do. So I just think that, you know, the stab and go lead, I don't like the stab and go lead idea, you know?
No, it's a business, it's a belly to belly, person to person industry still. No matter how shiny these new objects are, I mean, we're doing live streaming video out to, I don't know, 14 or 15 different real estate groups and pages and everything else. But you know what? This is a vehicle to get in front of them and to nurture them. So if you can nurture them like this, like I listed a $1 million project the other week and a half ago, and it's because she was getting nurtured by what I was doing out here. She's like, you're an educator. You look like you're a strong agent. Come on over and list my property. There was no negotiation. It's like, come list my house.
Yep.
And it's because it was a long-term play.
Yeah.
It's how many times have you had somebody say, I see and hear you everywhere?
Lately, a lot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's not hard or expensive to do. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you do radio. We've been doing radio for 12 years. We still do radio. We're not with rate or anything like that. We were for a long time, but we do it ourselves. And that's our number one resource for seller leads. Okay. Really? Those are to come list me. Oh, still is. And it still is. But the thing is now, you know, we spend a lot of energy with retargeting through Facebook. So that for everybody who's been on your site for the last 120 days, you know, it's unbelievable how much we get from that. You're all over my timeline, blah, 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 because we do just listed, just solds 2 miles around. You know, we just type in the address and the targeting for every new listing we get versus postcards. We do it on Facebook, and you can target it down. And I mean, there's nothing secret about it. People have been doing it. And I don't care about the leads I get out of it. I care about the impression points that it's reinforcing the radio. It's reinforcing the other stuff that we've been doing year after year after year. And, you know, all these things work together. And, you know, I learned a long time ago in new home sales, if you're sitting at a new home site and everybody comes in and they fill out the registration card, you say, how'd you hear about me? Every single person would say the sign. Okay. When the truth of the matter was, truth of the matter is, it wasn't the sign. That was just the last thing they saw. And that's what they're going to tell you. So when you start really digging in, okay, you say you saw me on my website. Where did you find? Oh, yeah, you know, I've been hearing you on the radio for years. Yeah. If you really start digging down, they're always going to tell you the last thing they saw, not the first thing. So, and then Monday morning coffee. Monday morning coffee is something I've been doing. And I copied Galen Haas with Real Pro Systems, if you remember that. Yeah. I've been doing that every Monday. We'll send a video out to our entire database. And that right there is probably responsible, and it costs almost nothing. But that right there is responsible for more deals than anything.
Oh, yeah, because you're constantly in front of them. Like I use it where Matt and I met. He was my coach over at Viral Marketing. Right. You know, I send out these videos all the time, and people that I don't even know are watching me on these videos are going, hey, man, I loved your last video. I have your email address? How the heck did I get into that? Okay.
Hey, I can't tell you the number of builders I've met from it that are on it, because we do a lot of statistical stuff where we'll include, say, you know, educational and bring in the stats versus, you know, hey, call me, I'm the greatest, because they can call anybody, you know, to sell their house these days. So, you know, we just, there is no one silver bullet. I think I call it swarm marketing. I think you swarm them and then you communicate them with the way they came in. And then you figure that out and then you just got to stay on it. And that's all there is to it. And you got to stay engaged as a team leader. I think that stepping so far out that you're not engaged and you don't know what's going on with the deals of your buyer agents and all this, you don't need to know every nuance. But when you get to the point you think you're too good or whatever, I think that's when you're starting down a path that's really dangerous to go down, because most of us are way too young to retire. Okay. So, and you said your dad was, Matt, you said your dad was a pastor. You remember in Deuteronomy, it says, if you don't work, you don't eat.
That's right.
But everybody's trying not to work.
Well, yeah, that's why I get such a kick out of because of the podcast business and stuff. I get to talk to a lot of emerging, aspiring, like speakers, coaches, consultants, the whole thing. And one of the what I would think of as a pipe dream is the whole passive income thing, right? It's I created this course and I sold one of them while I sleep. Let's do that, and that's going to be my main thing, right? Oh, yeah. And yeah, it's one of those things where if you actually achieved it, it would not make you happy,
right?
You
wouldn't. No, because we're serial entrepreneurs, or you wouldn't be in this business.
Exactly.
So, and then there's not a better business to be in, more lucrative than what we're in right now, without having to go to school a whole lot and spend a whole lot more money.
So true.
Yes. That's right. So, Greg, you're not going to be going to med school in the fall? I don't understand.
This is so funny. Yeah, no.
I know you're thinking about it. Maybe
George.
So why is it everybody's goal to get out? I mean, I'm 50. I got hopefully another 15 years. Why is it everybody's goal to get out if you like doing it?
It's because they've been fed the silver bullet. Yeah, they've been fed this pipe dream, because if you listen to social media, if you listen to all the Silicon Valley guys and gals that are over here, all they talk about is coming up with that one thing, selling it, making $1 bajillion, and moving on. And that's it is a complete snake oil, idea and thought pattern, because, man, if you don't work, your brain's gonna start dying. You're gonna age prematurely, and you're going to have an early death. You've got to be consistently moving forward and doing something. And so,
and if you like doing it, why quit?
Why quit? I mean, Matt and I have always said that if someone gave us $50 million each, like, here, Greg 50, Matt 50 million, have fun, go live your life. Matt and I, we've always joked, we're like, well, we're going to start podcasting 5 days a week, and we're going to have professional grade studios.
That's right.
And you're going to go buy more Zillow leads.
Oh, yeah, more Zillow leads.
Of course. That's right.
No.
Oh, man. We do more of the same because we genuinely enjoy it. Yeah, so why would we stop? Yeah, and that's the thing. I think this is where I think the struggle is for people that are in real estate, and Hank Aving hit this on the head, which is that people get bored selling real estate, and I think then they start to look for something that feels more fulfilling, which I see manifested a lot as the drive to get into coaching, consulting, whatever. It also manifests in that desire, buddy, you mentioned, which is to start and then exit a team, not realizing that if you actually achieve that, it's instantly your brain's going to want to move on to the next thing, whatever that is. Like if you have that natural drive within you to build something, which the guys that end up building successful teams have that, then once they build it, the brain is automatically on to the next thing. You just want to build the next thing because the drive is there, and the drive has to be fulfilled. That expression has to pop out somewhere.
Well, you know what I found is, for me, I actually like people. And when I got out of the business, I never interacted with customers anymore. All I interacted with was with agents, which I love the agents. But I really I don't do all the listings on my team, but I probably list 10, 15 homes a month. And I like going in their houses and helping them solve what they want. Now, I like it a lot better now in this market than I did 5 years ago.
I think we all agree with you on that one.
But I'm going to tell you, I mean, I really, really like to engage with them. If I was not engaging with them, I would get bored. Mm-hmm. I don't like the problems and the deal, the things that go along with it. But you know what? That's what they pay us the big bucks to do.
Right. Yeah. We're problem solvers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Buddy, that's funny you say that, is that, sometimes I get all down. I'm like, damn it, I want to get out of this business, right? I want to go buy a gas station and work in a gas station. I'm having one of those types of days, right? But then once you start working with a buyer or a seller, like I was out, helping one of my new team members, Midori, that sits here, do her first showing on one of our new listings, and I'm like, damn, I love this job.
Absolutely. We got an agent, a new agent. He's been with us for less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
And last month, and of course, I'm going to say this, and then my competition, if they're watching, they're going to recruit them like crazy. Because I don't know about y'all's world, but people are throwing dollars at agents left and right to get them to move companies now.
Let's just call him John Smith.
Yeah, let's call him Jane Smith.
Jane Smith.
Listen, this guy has busted his butt, and he does open houses every Saturday. On what he wants is, he says, "What new listing do you have? Can you bring it out on Friday evening and let me do an open house, and I'll put signs up 4 days before." That's his simple approach. Every Saturday from 9 to 11 in the morning, he goes, I don't want to ruin my whole day. And if they're serious, they'll come in.
Right.
And that guy, he had 10 contracts in April. 10.
Goodness.
Buyer's agent.
Goodness.
That's unheard of for me. Now, other teams will tell you that's average for their agents, but and not for me. That's not average.
Yeah, but what did we talk about off air? When someone says they're doing 20, cut it in half.
Yeah, divided by 3.
Divided by 3.
Oh, that's average for my guys. Oh shit, our guy did 2.
But that's the reason I have to get out of so many of these groups, because I start looking around. I'm like, well, he's doing that. I'm better than him. And then I start comparing myself, and I start chasing it. And then I'm like, I have to keep away from all the groups, because the groups, there's some value in it, but I find myself getting frustrated because I'm not doing what they're doing. But guess what? I don't need to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I can live, and make a really nice income and go home and see my family and help our agents grow. And, and like we were talking off air, and maybe even have a plan that they can graduate off our team, because, most teams, it's like, you will never leave here. You're going to have a no compete for the rest of your life. If you ever leave here, I'm going to kill you. You know what I'm saying?
And the Chicago teams really mean that, okay?
They do.
And what if you had an open, what if your goal was to help the rock stars that are going to leave anyway? Because most of the team leaders, guess what? They left a brokerage or left somebody else. We did.
Yeah.
Okay, in the past, but yet we want to hold somebody else back from leaving us.
Yep.
What if you opened that up? We were talking about it, Greg. What if you opened that door up and took the shackles off and said, hey, let's have a conversation about a succession plan. We'll help you get there if that's where you want to go. Guess what? I'm going to use you for a few years. You're going to use me for a few years. So.
Yeah, I've got use and abuse. I've got a guy working for me right now, part-time. He does the guest booking for the podcast side. And his goal, the reason that he reached out to me, was that he wants to start his own digital marketing agency. I'm like, great, fantastic. It sounds to me like you have a built-in incentive to deeply learn and get into the strategy of what we're building. Fantastic. So let's do it. Let's work together for a year or 2 years or however long you're here, and you'll come away with the skills that if you want to, you can go out and do your own thing, or you may find that there's a lot of fulfillment in building within someone else's structure, and that'd be great too. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like when he came to me, I was like, fantastic. Let's work together for as long as we do. I'll pour into you, you pour into the business, everybody wins. And then if you want to, you can go off and do your own thing. What is that? We talked a little bit about this off the air, but I want you to share it on the air if you don't mind, is in real estate, what does that succession plan look like? Like in a perfect world, you're the team leader, you have a rock star come to you, average time they're going to be with you is 18 to 24 months. If you try to hold them, what does a good succession plan look like?
What I'm looking at now is, because what we have when you leave, when a buyer's agent who's never generated a buyer lead or anything like that, when they leave, what they leave is that whole pipeline of leads that they've been nurturing and working, relationships that they've been building. And of course, the team leader fools themselves and thinks we're going to jump in and replace that relationship. You're not, if they've done a good job. So what I'm thinking is, have them move over. In my case, I own the brokerage. So have them move over and start and be an independent agent, or if they want to start their own team, still allow them to have access to our database, not be on our team, but have access to the people they've been working for a long time, come up with a different split plan so that number one is while they're building their business and building out, learning how to lead generate and do all those things, because they're going to have some investment in that they don't realize they're going to have. They've got revenue stream potential, a pipeline still. Their pipeline doesn't get broke. But for me, we're not having this argument over he took my leads, he didn't take them, or we're trying to, check them off, figure out, did he take my leads, did he not? And how about just open that up and say, listen, anybody that's in there, when you have a closing, if they're in my database, I get a referral fee or whatever the number is. I don't have that executed yet, but I lost an agent a few months ago that if I'd have had that and I had that attitude versus getting upset, which I did, and I really wish I didn't because he was a really good agent, we would have been able to maybe keep him at our company, and he would have been able to not, continually grow his business versus having to go down and then come back up. Because when you leave a team, no matter who you are, unless in a few exceptions, you're going to go down before you come back up. And they don't realize it, but you are. Because you do know the most ROI percentage-wise in this entire business is a buyer's agent. Because you have zero expense and everything you earn is profit. That's the only position in this industry where 100% of everything is profit, other than your MLS fees, your car, and stuff like that, because all your leads are being generated for you. I mean, so it's a pure profit model.
I've often wondered, I've been baffled by this. People always get into the business, they instantly want to have listings. I'm like, why? You don't have any money. I mean, and you don't have any experience. Why do you want something you're going to get your butt kicked on?
And you can't be a good listing agent until you've been a good buyer's agent. I don't think. There's a few exceptions. There's some exceptions, but I just don't think you got to go through a lot of tough deals before you can help coach people how to go through them as a seller side.
Yeah. My favorite is someone's been in the business for 2 years and they're like, I'm a real estate coach. You're like, no, you're still a baby in the business, pal. You know, you need to get your ass kicked a couple of times up one side of the street, right back down the other by your clients, by your brokerage, by the market, by, your significant other, because you work so damn much. I mean, you got to take the licks before you can actually hand out some good advice. And I think that buyer's agents, I love being a buyer's agent. I've been primarily a buyer's agent most of my career. Terry and Chris, they do a lot more of the listings. That I get paid on everything, so it doesn't matter to me. But I like going out and finding the hunt. I like hunting it down. I don't like sitting on my haunches.
I do not. I like the listing side.
You're the normal agent.
I would be the normal agent, I guess. But I like the listing side because I think I'm a better marketer. Does that make sense? And my patience level, I don't have I'm ADHD. I don't have the skill set to go show 50 houses. Okay. Because I would be done. But I would
definitely it's an emotional skill set, and I don't have it either.
Yeah. I think the other hybrid that we're doing that has always been taboo is, now after an agent been with us for a year or sold 24 homes, hopefully they've done that. We will let them start taking some sphere or some listings with my guidance, so that because I want them to. That's how you keep them. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what, as a buyer's agent, Greg, you said it. If you do 10 deals in a month, you're not going to do crap the next month because you're going to be so busy fighting through those deals to get them closed that your entire prospecting database, it's going to fall apart. It just, most people it does. And so, I like the idea of getting realtor partners to do both. And I fought that for years because I went through all the coaching that said, don't ever mix them. But why introduce somebody new to the relationship? You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is always Greg. I'm a big fan of specialization, but I see both sides of it. And Greg, you're the opposite. You want each agent to be a self-sufficient, self-contained entity that can do both. And I think it depends on the personality type. I definitely think people tend to fall into one camp or another, but I don't see the harm, especially when it's a sphere listing that would just drop into their lap based on the relationship. But I think the right answer is then to pair up or get a mentor or something that then provides the expertise that they're missing because they've been just doing buyer. And like you said, you feel like you're a better marketer. That would be my approach too. Most people are not. They don't have the marketing expertise, and they don't have the ability to go into a listing consult and truly be an expert advisor, a consultant. So I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody taking their point on the relationship, but bringing in that other person who is that marketing mind, who is that expert advisor, to back them up, so to speak.
So let's do this. Let's ask all of our listeners, guys, in the comments below, or a blend of both. Let us know what your thoughts are, because then I can publicly shame Matt for being wrong. And this will be fantastic ammo. So thank you to all of you.
There is no way to shame me because I don't believe in locking anybody into anything. I just believe certain personality types lend themselves better. And like Buddy's found out, he's gone through all these different roles within the real estate business and then come back to the one that you happen to already be in where you felt the most comfortable. I think that's a lot of people. I mean, Greg, you've talked about it before that, there a pretty good portion of yours are buyer deals because that's where you enjoy. But you've done both enough to know what your best fit is, even though you're a high D, high I, even though like personality profile, you make an amazing listing agent. You just enjoy the buyer side more. So you gravitate towards that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
So we have so Melanie wrote back. She said, even if the pay was the same, I'd probably still say listing agent. Stefan wants it all. Joe wants to be a listing agent. Matt, I am getting my ass handed to me. It appears you and Buddy are right.
No, I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think it's whatever fits your personality and what your desire is. I mean, I just don't want to do that because, and you know what? I would do that if I hadn't been blessed with the opportunity to have so many listing opportunities. Okay. I mean, I don't have a shortage of listing opportunities. I don't really know why, other than I've just been doing listing marketing for so long. And that's, we're kind of just known for it. And so I've got enough to keep me busy doing that. But I'm not, listen, if business falls apart, I'll put whoever in my car. If they got the money, I'll go sell a house. I have no problem with that. But as long as I've got my plate full listing, I would rather give the opportunities to our buyer agents because that's what I promised them. I'm not, I don't want to be one of those guys, team leaders that cherry picks the leads, because that's when you start getting in trouble.
Or you'll get in a lot of trouble. Then you start competing, and then they start resenting you and everything else. And Buddy, I'm not sure if you can see this, but we got a ton of comments on here. Everyone's really pumped on the content you're bringing. Andrew, who is actually the CEO of Live Leap, guys, if you guys, that's a system we use. Super cool dude. Who says this information is gold. I'm sharing it to everyone so they can see how great it is. And this stuff will take years to learn. So, the show is, showing me on all of his different feeds. So thank you. That's awesome, brother. And Buddy, you're making it rain, man. I told you guys you'd make it rain. See?
You guys are so funny. I mean, this is just basic stuff. And we get away from it with the technology and let's scale it. How can we leverage it? How about just do the freaking work?
What do we have?
How about you do as a team leader what you ask your team members to do? Okay.
In the trenches.
Yeah.
How about if you're asking them to fill out all these forms that take 2 hours to fill out, you fill them out for a while and see how you like it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're not prepared to do something, you shouldn't ask somebody else to do it.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, 100%.
But I will, I do think the best way to leverage a team leader, I've never been able to do it except in spotty moments, is in a perfect world, I could be the first point of contact for every new lead that came in through our website. Because when I've done it, when I sit down, because I get ticked off because nobody calls them or something, they know me. They know me. It's my website. It's my marketing. The conversation is so different when you go to, if I go to your website, Greg, and I get Greg, that's a different conversation than if John calling for Greg. Does that make sense? And especially with such an emotional decision and high value as a house. I mean, it's not a house, it's a life change. That's what people forget. We're not selling commercial real estate here. We don't rule by logic. This is emotion. And I think sometimes team leaders try to take that part out of it and try to make it all logical to fit in this little box. And this business doesn't fit in a little box that you can just drop down in one town and another town and another personality and another personality. It's a relationship and it's an emotional business. Commercial world, totally different.
Yeah, 100%.
Just imagine if you could take all your own leads.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's calling your own leads, and that's, you mentioned scaling and kind of leverage, and I believe in all those things, but you are 100% right that there is definitely an attempt to take like principles like predictable revenue and stuff like that work in the B2B world, where it is an emotionless, it is a risk averse decision in a business environment of somebody investing in that type of software. It is not, they are not making an emotional decision other than the fact that they don't want to go out on a limb and take a risk that will get them fired or reduce their standing in a company. Very, very different from the largest consumer purchase. So yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, the thing that will always be the most effective is the relationship, and the more of the relationship you can inject into the process, the better. And buddy, you're doing that like your version of scaling. You've been able to, and I love this concept, which is the scaling up of relationships, because you have this platform like the radio and the other marketing that you're doing that allows you to have the perception of more relationships with more people, so that when you do get on the phone with them, there's even more of an impact. You're not just a random agent, you're Buddy Blake, because they're hearing you on the radio and they're seeing you on Facebook and all this stuff. Like that, to me, that's the first step. If you're going to look at scaling, scale the relationship first, then look at like scaling by adding, leverage and automation and tech people and all this stuff like that.
Yeah, I've talked with a couple of other team leaders about this, and needless to say, the conversation doesn't go well. What if we cut down on the amount of leads that we did, but we actually responded? We dedicated an hour a day, 2 hours a day. What more scalability can you get? Where we had a quick conversation. We said, "Hey, Matt, thanks for visiting my website. This is Buddy." "Really? It's Buddy?" "Yeah." "Are you looking for a house?" Blah, blah, blah. Number one is you'd learn a lot more about your own business, okay? Because from the conversations. But you would actually be able to then, that's scaling. I remember Craig Proctor. I know he doesn't do it now. He used to, before lunch, he would call every one of his leads from the day before. Okay. And he would then assign them out to the right disc profiles and things like that, because he knew that they were calling off of one of his ads, or they were coming to his website or whatever. You don't have to have an introduction. I mean, I heard the term that real estate agents and real estate teams, it seems like their goal is to take the least paid person, ISAs, part-time people, and I'm not against them. I'm just simply saying they're trying to take the least paid person and put them in the most important point of contact, which is the first one.
Yeah, that's true.
That's like
I think we're all trying to crack the code on that. We're trying to get agents that you would think the commission dollars are a big enough incentive for them to answer the phone on the first or second ring or call somebody back within 5 minutes. The problem is getting them to do it. So everybody's looking for, okay, well, in the absence of that, what do you do? So the ideal is not like the choice is never either have an agent, like the agent answer the phone in 5 minutes, or having an ISA answer in 5 minutes. It's having an ISA or nothing, because the agent doesn't pick up the phone or doesn't call them back at all.
Or reduce the number of leads so they can handle it.
Exactly.
Because if you got 20 leads, like we do duty slots for buyer's agents each day, and you get 25 leads in a day, you know what? That's really hard to follow up with, to actually set the searches up, to, if you actually talk to them, send them a note card, to make sure the right drip campaign's done. I mean, that takes a lot of time, and I've done it. It's hard.
It's very, very hard
to do it. And then if it's a Facebook lead, go online and private message them. I mean, those are really hard things to do.
Yeah, it's not scalable. If you get 25 on Monday and you get 25 on Tuesday, now you got 50. Then you get 25 on Wednesday, you got 75. You got 25 on Thursday, you got 100. Holy shit! It's only freaking Thursday.
Yeah, and you're showing for the next 2 days, so you can't get back to the ones you promised you were getting back to. And we can have all the technology in the world with reminders and tasks and all this, but that ain't going to make it happen.
No, you make it happen. You make it happen.
I don't have the solution, but I do know what the solution is we've got to build the relationship back into it. And somehow the team leader has got to be closer. They don't have to be in every engaged deal, but they've got to have touch points with every transaction and with every consumer at the right time. And you got to figure out how to do that. So whether it's a video email, a personal video email, because you can really pop those out with Bomb or something else real quick. I mean, if you just did that,
it kind of brings me think about Jeff Cohn a little bit, Matt, because he goes out, spends an hour and a half on a listing appointment, then he literally hands it off to the other agent that's sitting next to him on his team, goes, there you go, because Jeff Cohn showed up, talked to them, they felt like they got the celebrity treatment. They talked to the boss dog. Now they're going to work with the boss dog's favorite other team member, and they feel good about it. And I think you're really onto something, buddy. I think that this is something that hopefully people will re-engage with, or not even re-engage with, start to engage with, taking some time, checking your ego at the door. Yes, you might be some really cool dude or dudette, but you know what? How much cooler could you be if you made more money and helped your agents make more money and make your brand grow, because you're the most personable, professional, transparent agent on there that helps his clients because he's client minded or she's client minded, not commission minded. Think about
Well, I think part of it for me, I can't speak for anybody else. Part of it for me is humility,
Mm-hmm.
and not having enough, because I tell my wife, I say, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. We've had years where we did $2.5 million GCI, whatever. You can put whatever number you want on it. I can make up a number, or we could put a real one. Either way, it's the same difference. But the truth of the matter is, I feel like I shouldn't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she'll look at me and she goes, why? They're the customer. You're supposed to serve them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, whoa, that's pretty dead on.
Smart woman. I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
well, that's the thing, is if you want to be in leadership, you're going to serve somebody. The only question is, who is it? And I think that's another one of those pipe dreams, like passive income. And I think it almost, maybe it comes from the same place. I think there are people out there that resent having to be subservient to other people.
Yeah, to make those calls. I've earned my stripes. I shouldn't have to be calling these leads. See, that's what we need to do. That's what we fun on a live presentation. Pick about 4 or 5 team leaders and let's go live and call leads.
Oh, I'm in.
I say Greg will do it.
Yeah, let's see who will sign up for that program. Yeah. Oh, dude, and the buyer agents out there are loving this, I'm sure, right now, because we throw it at them and we say, call.
Right.
And you say, well, I'll do it. I mean, when I do the calls, I had a guy yesterday. I don't know what I did yesterday, but I'm still trying to figure that out. But I have over like 9,600 views on my live prospecting yesterday. And I'm getting asked all the time. They're like, well, why are you doing calls? You're successful. You should just be working with a referral business from this point on. I'm like, what is this, your first week in the business? No. You never stop the calls. You never stop doing it, because a true leader's out in front, not sitting behind in the office, dictating what to do. And it's fun to do the calls. It keeps you real, like you were saying, buddy. It keeps you real in the business.
It's hard though, especially in markets like this where you're having a lot of success. Just because I'm on the coast, we call it high tide markets. Mm-hmm. Just because it's busy and everything's working right now, it's hard to do those basics. It's much easier to just go home, and because you got money, you got sales rolling in, and it's hard to do. So it's hard to get back to doing the basics as a team leader. I can tell you right now, because I'm just telling you feel like you shouldn't have to. I mean, have you ever done something and you're like, I graduated out of that. I shouldn't have to go back and do that. Well, yeah. Sometimes you realize, for me anyway, that's really what I was kind of meant to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like you. I'm meant to prospect, man. That's just what I'm really good at.
Right.
And I'm really good at working with buyers. I kind of suck at working with sellers sometimes, because I don't like you guys. You like them. I don't like the entitlement that sometimes some of them have. Not all of them, don't get me wrong, but some of them are very entitled. Buyers, for the most part, are incredibly grateful. Yeah, you got to go drive around, but come on, man. It's sunny with clear air. I mean,
well, that comes with experience on the listing side. A lot of it's how you create the expectation.
True.
I mean, we have a complete walkthrough. I mean, I say, let me just show you how this is going to roll out. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to negotiate your deal. Blair's going to be the one, my assistant, who's going to take care of the paperwork, because I stink at paperwork. I'm really good at marketing, Mr. Seller, and I'm really good at negotiating. And those are the 2 factors that I bring to the table for you. Okay. And then Blair's going to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So, I just find it so much easier to work with that. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't get the difficult seller that doesn't listen to you, but, in my listing agreement, it says the listing agent or seller can fire each other at any time. So I have no problem relieving myself of that.
Right. No, yeah, very much so, because you don't want to be dealing with it's like a bad, dating relationship. You start fighting, no one's listening to you, they're respecting each other. Just separate, go your own way, and call it a day, because they're taking your time and your energy. Go spend it with someone who's actually going to listen to your professionalism.
Well, yeah, and you don't, have you ever had deals where you think they fall apart or situations, then you don't really know the whole story? I mean, I can't tell you the number of listings I go into and oh, we need to sell our house because we're relocating, blah, blah, blah. Well, about 3 weeks into it, I realized they got War of the Roses going on at home between the husband and wife, and there's a pre-separation, pre-divorce, which is horrible, but they don't tell me that until I'm into it.
Yeah.
Right.
People just don't volunteer the whole story all the time. There's like 5 sides to every story, no matter what it is. And and they don't tell you. It's like buyers with you, Greg. How many buyers have said, I'm not buying for 2 years, but then something pops up on Zillow and then you either sell it to them or you hear about they bought it from somebody else.
It happened to me yesterday. One of the guys goes, hey, man, we're going to wait for like another year or two. He's like, hey, find out about this rental. I want to sell my house again. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. It happens all the time.
Yeah. Because the industry's changed. They have access to the information. And it used to be when I first started, people would call you 60 days ahead and say, listen, I'm coming to Wilmington to look around to buy a house. Can you help me find a house? Now they call you. It's not a time frame. It's when something happens. As soon as I sell my house, as soon as I get a job, as soon as whatever the situation, and they don't even know their timeline. They think they do, but they don't even know what their timeline is. Sellers know their timeline better than buyers. So,
yeah, they're reactionary. Buyers are much more reactionary and they have to be it sometimes. But that's, again, what makes it fun, and my sick personal opinion.
No, I mean, listen, the buyer agents that are working right now are crushing it.
Yeah.
And I saw a comment on there. Somebody was making fun 100%. I don't think they was doing it in a good way. I mean, you do your profit margin is 100% because you have zero in it. That's 100%. Am I right?
I think so.
You
Yes,
get 100% of the commission,
unless you're paying for the buyer lead.
But you're not entitled to 100% of the commission if you don't take the risk and spend the money. But if you put nothing in it and you get whatever you get as 100%. I'm not a mathematician, but I know that much. That's called 100% markup.
I know. I got a kick out of there. There's a couple of comments to that effect. I was hoping you'd get a chance to smack those around a little bit.
Well, I mean, if you think you can do it better, go do it yourself. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I don't mean that disrespectfully at all. It's harder than what people realize because of the investment in money, time, systems. Because you know what? The system that I got, it's not because of the money I'm spending now. It's the money I've spent over the last 15 years and the time and the energy that I've spent over the last 15 years. That's what I bring to the table with the system. 40,000 people in a database, and any one of them could pop up at any given time. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the 15 years cumulatively.
Yeah, it is.
So, and I don't think about that.
No, I talked to an agent the other day, and they were 3 weeks into the business, literally, and they're calling me all upset, going, "I don't get it, man. I'm just not getting any listings," and I didn't know they were only 3 weeks into it. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk what you're doing, logically lay it out. And all of a sudden, something dawned on me, like, how long have you been doing this? 3 weeks? I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. You're comparing yourself to someone 20 years deep into this thing, and you're 3 weeks? 20 years, 3 weeks? See how they build a business here? And you're comparing to them? That's not fair to yourself. Stop beating yourself up. That's a rule for all of you out there that are listening and watching right now. If you're newer in the business or re-engaging in the business, do not compare yourself to anyone else in this business. Compare yourself to you, where you are today, where you are tomorrow is the only gauge you need to worry about.
And I'm gonna add this, and keep in mind the money you bring home. Forget about your sales volume and forget about your units and forget about all that crap. Because I learned a long time ago, it does not go to the bank. Okay, and you don't, nobody cares about your awards. All right. So
no, I actually hate going to my awards ceremony. Like I'll sit and talk to hundreds of people live on anything, but you make me get up and receive an award in front of people. I got sweaty hands just thinking about it. I mean, I hate it.
Well, it's just, there's a lot of personalities in this business, and
It's
There's
not
a
my
lot of them
shtick.
that don't. There's a lot of them that don't like me anymore. Let's put it that way.
And that's okay. That's a mutual. Yeah,
Because I'm kind of the anti-mega agent, if you will.
hey,
Not
okay.
really though. There's guys that are doing great and ladies that are doing great jobs out there, and I commend them. I just don't have that skill set, and nor do I have that desire.
And
there
you,
you
you
go.
mean mega agent as in team leader or like high profile rainmaker agent?
Team lead, I would say team leaders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's some people that are, there's some people that have some pretty lofty goals, and I appreciate that. It's okay not, you know, I always tell my agents this at our company. I say, listen, if your goal is to make $150,000 this year to you, I'm talking about to you,
Mm-hmm.
and Jack's goal is to make $800,000 with his team. Your goal of 150 is just as important as
Yep.
Jack's goal.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit your goal, we're going to celebrate that just as hard as we would Jack's. Okay?
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
whatever your goal is, establish that and you go for that. And then the other thing I can't stand is, and we're hearing it a lot, well, I'm just busy. I'm just busy. I cannot stand when somebody tells me I'm busy, because what they're implying is they're busy. It means more than my busy, because we're
Right.
all busy. I can't stand that. That's selfish conversation.
Yeah,
So,
and I love your point about that, about the goals, buddy, is the fact that, like, if you have a goal to buy a gas station, run a McDonald's, and wear flip-flops for the rest of your life, dude, sweet. If you want to go buy Bentleys and jets and own an island and be the ruler of the world, sweet. As long as you own it and don't worry about it and just focus on your goals, they're your goals,
right.
not Jack's.
And don't worry about them. And that's where, especially with social media, if you get involved with groups or if you go to conventions, for me, I get distracted because I hear about all this stuff. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong here. But you know what? That's their deal. And if that's where they're happy at, awesome for them. I just don't want to be that person again, because let's put it this way, the cost is too high. I do not want to lose my family. I do not want to lose one day with my kids. The cost is way too high to be that person where I want Stroke to be.
That's the cool part about it. You live both sides of that coin. You were the 90 hours a week, but then you saw the light and you're like, hey, this family thing is way better than this killing myself in the office thing. Because you know what? Never anyone ever said on their deathbed, man, I wish I spent more time in that office.
I sure wish I sold another house or did another $1 million. Yeah.
If there's some psychopath that actually says that, then God bless you. You're on your way. Bye-bye.
But with that said, I don't mean to discount any of these people's, because you know what? That's their goals, that's their dreams, and that's wonderful. Just don't make fun of somebody who doesn't have the same goals and dreams. Don't make them feel uncool or like they don't work or like they're stupid. You know what I'm saying? They just make a choice not to chase the same dream that you choose. So,
and that's how like when it comes to building a team, like you're talking about, the whole title of the show is the fact that, this is the business that you love, not that the world's supposed to love.
Right.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Very hard not to fall into that trap. But yeah, I mean, it's what is it? I think Paul said, don't compare yourselves among yourselves. They were pretty smart. He had that figured out a few thousand years ago. So you should probably listen to that.
It hasn't changed much, has it?
It hasn't changed at all. No, human nature has not changed, sadly. So, buddy, let people know just how they can connect with you. If there's anybody listening or watching this that's kind of in your area that's interested in joining one of your Remax offices, kind of tell people a little bit about like where your footprint's at and how they can reach you.
We're in Wilmington, North Carolina, from Hampstead. From Hampstead all the way down to the South Carolina, North Carolina line. We operate. Our main office is in Wilmington. It's a very small town, but the best way to get up with me is the easiest way is just go to buddyblake.com and just click. There's a phone number, or you just click contact me, and that comes to me. That's the easiest way. Just go to buddyblake.com or hit me up on Facebook or whatever. So
cool. Very cool.
I have nothing to sell today.
Yeah.
How about that? There's no endorsements. I'm not selling anything. You know how a lot of these turn into like, okay, I got this new cool tool to say. I got nothing. Other than this, use your phone.
And that would be a great start for a lot of people. Matt, who doesn't pick up my phone calls.
Oh, come on.
Okay, you're getting better. The therapy's help.
Whatever. All right, Greg, you want to tell people real quick about Get Now Business, and then we will close this one out.
Yeah, guys. Hey, I am putting a link in right now to Get Now Business. It's Matt and I's our new live training class that we're offering. We started on June 5th with our new run of everybody, so we got one more week in our current class. Do not wait. Sign up for this thing if you guys are going to sign up for it. It is a lot of fun. We're going to talk to you about how to get now business with no cold calls and no door knocking. And I'm sure Buddy is looking at me and thinking about it in his head going, what is this guy talking about? But yes, Buddy, we have found a way. We have found a way, my friend.
Secret weapon.
Yeah, secret weapons. Where you guys don't have to do any cold calls or door knocking. And I know a lot of you guys might be thinking that we're crazy, but go check it out. Look, it's $297 one time. We get a recording version of everything that's going to be taking place, so you can watch and listen to it and everything else forever and a day. And it's just going to be the opposite side of the coin to the Rockstar prospecting class that we ran for several months that we shelved for a little bit so we don't wear it out. Like, well, never mind. But you guys go take a look at it. And the link's in there, and we'd love to see you guys. We only take 20 people. We are at 17 this last month. So, guys, it fills up quick. And when it fills up, bam, it fills up literally like in 24 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, and this is, I mean, going back to the whole, like, passive income, like, this is why we don't do, like, just, hey, we recorded these videos, go buy them, they're $1,000, and, you can just watch them and we make money in our sleep. Like, the reason that we do live classes is so that we can role play and really, like, pour into you guys and genuinely help. So we go like deep into scripting, phrasing, how to have conversations that actually convert, how to find the people in your database, Buddy. Like you said, you've got a database of 40,000 people. Obviously, most of our clients are not there yet, but they do have a database, and they need to find the people in there that have a need out of the people that already have some sort of connection to them. We talk about how to do that. And so that's why we do them live, guys, is we want to interact with you and we want to do as much as we possibly can to help you further along your career and build a business that you really enjoy. And then, like Buddy pointed out on Facebook, make sure to follow all of us. That's probably the best way to connect with all of us. Do not friend me and Greg. I don't know about Buddy. I'm sure you're probably at your max as well. But follow us on Facebook. That way you get notified when we're doing stuff. You see our posts. You get to interact and stuff like that without your friend request going into the black hole of Facebook with the friend limit. So, yeah. Purgatory. Exactly. All right, guys. That's all I've got, Greg.
All right, guys. Hey, we at Matt and I do it because we love you. We want to see you succeed. If this has been helpful, share this to someone. Tell someone about the show, guys. The more people that hear about it, the better we can help our real estate community, and stop having coaches rape you for what we give away for free. So no raping. No raping. All right, guys.
Take away from the show.
Anyways, we love you. Peace out, guys. We gone.